Happy first day of fall. Chris, good to see you. Okay, well, I have 1 o'clock. So we'll get started. Probably won't be too long today. Just wanted to give some updates and then any Q&As at some point. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so we talked a couple of weeks ago, right? We talked about that, we keep hitting new highs. At some point, we're going to get a little bit larger pullback. And again, let me kind of scroll in for a second here. Remember, we had a pullback here back in July. We'll pull back here in June. A couple pullbacks here. Pullback. Right. Interesting enough, the cloud stayed green the entire time, right? So the only difference right now, as far as pullbacks are concerned, is now the clouds turned red. Now, I don't think that's going to last. Okay, but the reason I want to talk about this right at the beginning, this is a spiders, okay, is you don't want to jump the gun, meaning those of you that are looking to be bullish, because you should be at some point here, right? We don't want to jump the gun because we've got some activity now that certainly is bearish. But that 2.5 standard deviation Bollinger Band is holding pretty strong right now, so if it holds this price level, we're going to go back up and hit new highs over the next couple of weeks like we always do. Okay, but what I'm looking for is the Laguerre trigger above the green with the green Hackenacci, and then the cloud may not turn green right away, but it starts thinning, it starts getting more narrow. Okay, then I'll look to enter long. But until then, I'm not doing anything. Okay, if you went short with this Laguerre trigger, good trade. You would have put your stop above the high, it never got hit, and you made a lot of money. Okay, the risk of those type of trades though is you're not following the institutional money. So in many cases, you're going to have false triggers. But that's okay as long as you're okay with the risk, because you would have made money here and here based on how far they went down. Okay, I didn't take this short, but now at this point we're still bearish until it proves us wrong. Okay, so I'm hoping over the next couple of days we start heading back up and we'll have some phenomenal opportunities long. Okay, but if it continues down, then it continues down. So it looks like so far today, what is this candle? It's like an indecision Hackenacci, right? So we had the blow off wick here, okay? And then we had more of a bearish candle and now an indecisive. So the bottom line is the market doesn't know really where it wants to go right now. So we're just gonna wait. We're gonna wait and see at this point, okay? If you look at sentiment on the S&P, it's about 50-50, okay? So traders, retailer traders, you're flipping a coin right now to try to make money. Okay, the VIX, let's talk about the VIX. So I went short the VIX. I did a public YouTube on that as a very basic level, just to kind of show people how to do it. But when you get these spikes, as long as you add in properly, okay, you can do very well. And so we had the spike, we did a short play, and now I suspect this could come back down to the base. Obviously, if and when this happens, let's see here. If and when this happens, and it comes down to here, then the markets are going to climb. This could be a short term and then spike again, okay? Or it could then just come right back down. So the VIX, it's interesting today. You have a down day on the VIX, right? You see that? But look at the Laguerre, it curved back up, okay? So there's just a lot of indecision right now. And I don't have a problem telling people we're not really sure where the market's going to go. Usually it's a little bit easier to figure out direction, okay? But when I go back to spiders, I think we're getting close. Like I think this might be the bottom right here. Okay, but all I'm waiting for now is the Laguerre and the Hakanachi to tell me it's time to enter. Okay, it's time to enter. Well, I want to see that cloud start to thin. Okay, narrow, I should say. And that will be a great opportunity to make some money. Okay, let's take a look at the cues. So same with the cues, right? Exact same scenario. We're just waiting, okay? And if it continues down, then it continues down. But look at this beautiful reentry we had. So back in August, right? It came down, hit the 2.5 standard deviation band, and the next day it popped up. Look at that beautiful opportunity. So that's what we're waiting for. And it doesn't mean it's going to happen forever, right? So at some point, these trades in a bullish environment will not always be this simple to understand and figure out. But we're just patient on what we're doing. And that's the key, is we're not just guessing. I mean, we're using valuable data here in order to say, okay, where are we at? Well, how are we going to make it? And then if you look at the diamonds, they've been the weakest, right? They've been the weakest, yet look at today's candle, a green indecision, right? So again, was that the blow off at 336? Okay, we're still waiting for indications here telling us, okay? And that cloud is widening, okay? So we're getting a lot of conflict of information here. We're just not sure. That's okay. That's okay not to really know, because it won't take long and we'll know. That way, if you wait, you'll save yourself some money, okay? All right, let's take a look at crude oil. So again, opportunities come up all the time in crude. Again, if we just scroll out here, okay, you can see here, we had a great entry going back long. We had the retracement, the cloud held, and now we're heading higher. I do think we're getting close to maybe a double top, and I'll explain why. Maybe if it comes back up here, potentially can turn back around, because typically seasonally, October is a bearish month in oil, okay? Then we head higher. So if you're bullish, okay, you may want to wait until we get towards the end of October, or if you're looking to do a bear trade here, a short side, okay, wait for the triggers, obviously, but we're starting to get some back and forth action, and then it could come retest this level down here in the month of October. Okay, so be careful with crude, but there are definitely some opportunities, especially if we get triggers short. Okay. All right, Nvidia. Had a few questions on that this week. People are always looking to try to get back in if they're out of this. You can see today's price action. The cloud has stayed green during these retracements, okay? Again, interesting enough, even though price is up today, the Laguerre is still down. So no trigger yet, but we're getting very close. So if you're looking to enter in Nvidia, keep an eye on this. Another update in the markets, we're probably going to get triggers long for Nvidia, okay? All right, so Amazon, right? We had that earnings movement. It came back and didn't even come back to the price it was before earnings, and now it's kind of rolling back over. Amazon's going to be a great opportunity when it turns green again. It's starting to stabilize. Okay, I am looking to go long on Amazon, just not yet. Okay, I'm going to be patient on this. And again, we're getting some really good discounts from 3,700 down to maybe 3,300 on some of these opportunities, right? Apple, what do you think about Apple? Does that look good so far? Yeah, I think that, I definitely want to enter Apple again when I get a Laguerre heading up. Okay, you can have a mental stop if you want to stop below this wick, and if it's right, you can hit new highs, right? Again, yes, the cloud is red, meaning the momentum and the bias is to the downside right now. But if we get a couple updates and that cloud starts to narrow, okay, I will jump the gun at times. Okay, certainly my favorite trades are when you had retracements, the cloud didn't change red, and then you get the long. Okay, absolutely, those are my favorite. But you'll get a lot of these opportunities too. And look at the seasonality of Apple, right? We've got a good seasonal movement coming. Okay, so a lot of you are looking to enter into Apple at a cheaper rate, 144 versus 157, and we're doing real well. So let's keep an eye on Apple. Okay, bonds. So I told you this week in my premium video, right, that as much as I know bonds are going to go lower, okay, and we have an FOMC decision today as well at 2 o'clock, folks, in 50 minutes. But as much as I like bonds short, it's very interesting that we have a seasonal within a seasonal this week. Typically, bonds had higher this week before it has lower. Okay, so I'm hoping it doesn't break too much up to the upside. Maybe stay within this range right here and then come back down. Okay, I'm short the ETF on 20-year notes, and I know this week going into it that I may take a little bit of heat on that, but I also know that after this week we're pretty bearish. So even though there's seasonality to the downside, we have a short-term seasonal to the upside this week. Okay, and yes, those are very, very high probability moves. So it doesn't mean it's going to move like a ton. It just means it's going to close higher this week, but then we should roll over going into next week. Okay, now with the FOMC, that could change. We'll see. Maybe it'll just come right back down here after that 2 o'clock rate decision, if there's something that we're not expecting. All right, AMD is another good one, right? So, one of my clients always talks about AMD, loves it, which is fantastic. But again, you can see we typically had lower right now, and then right around November we had higher. So I'm not going to jump the gun on AMD. There's so many good opportunities out there. Okay, basically as we get towards the end of October, then I start looking at AMD again. Okay, and if this continues lower, it's just going to give me a better opportunity, right, to hit those new highs. So why go when you have other opportunities out there? Why go against that seasonal play? Okay, when you have other stocks that are following seasonal patterns right now to the upside. Okay, that's kind of the way I look at it. Doesn't mean it won't work out, but I like other trades better. Okay. All right, Shopify. Again, some of these I'm bringing up are questions I get throughout the week, so I try to address those. We're definitely getting a lot of support right here. Okay. Obviously it's a very expensive stock for most of you, but what I like about it is, it has that 5-year pattern, but it's a lot like AMD, where typically when we get into November, it makes us move. So I'm not looking to trade this yet. Okay. I'm looking in another month. Okay. Broadcom, love this trade. Okay, we got a green Hackenacci today. Going in tomorrow should be a good opportunity for you. If it's too expensive for you, maybe do a spread. Okay, but you're going to want to hang on to it a little bit because we're flirting with new highs all the time. But I think now is a really good opportunity to get into Broadcom. Your stock could be right below this wick here. You could have a tight stop, and if you're looking to do it further out, again, look at the beautiful seasonal move on Broadcom. One of my favorite stocks to trade. Okay. All right, what else do we got here? Bitcoin. All right, so you can see here on Bitcoin, we had the change and the move up. Now it's basically flat, a little bit to the downside. Okay. So, what looks like Bitcoin wants to do right now is continue down a little bit more, maybe, just as a idea, maybe come down to about half of the move here, maybe a little bit further. Then if you start seeing some support to the upside, green Hackenacci, you can get back in. I do think we're going to hit new highs on the Bitcoin in general here, which is 65. Okay. Once it gets moving, it'll get there pretty quickly. Definitely has a good opportunity to do that by the end of the year. Okay. Then January is typically a bearish month, okay, on the crypto world in general. So if this continues down, you don't want to get in front of it, right? You want to wait for your triggers. That's the key. Wait for the triggers. Then if you get it long, you can go for it. All right, Salesforce. Same thing here. It's kind of consolidating. So we'll probably hit new highs here over the next month on Salesforce, as well as, Tractor Supply continues to hit new highs. So again, what you want is when you get these retracements on these really bullish stocks, look at that seasonal, right? You just want to keep an eye on them. And I mean, this was a great trigger right here. Okay, patience, just like right here. Okay, it'll happen. And so when these new triggers happen, those are your entries. You don't have to force anything. There's a lot of stocks out there to trade, right? All right, let me bring up some data mining I put in here. The way I use my data mining spreadsheet, and then I put them in Thinkorswim. And when I get triggers, I look at them. These are for September, October opportunities. Okay, so I figured we go with some of the green ones today and just look at them. Remember, a lot of these are going to have a red cloud now. We've had a down week and so forth. Okay, but Tapestry, TPR. Look at that move coming. Okay, so here's what I do like about something like TPR. It hasn't really broke and closed below this level, right? So if you get a trigger and you get a green Hackenacci, and you can just mentally say, okay, if it closes below here, I'm out. So small loss. Look at the opportunity for it to come up to 45 bucks. Okay, right up here. Okay, so small loss opportunity for larger reward. I'll take that every day, every single day. Okay, now it's not my favorite trade ever, because I'd rather have it been in an uptrend, retracement, and then grab the trend again, right? Those are my favorite. But it doesn't mean I don't take trades like this, because again, we've got a big move coming typically, and we've got something where it doesn't really want to break 38. So if it does and it closes below there, you can get out of the trade, right? But if it doesn't, there you go, all the way up to 45. Okay. Same with DHI. Okay, DHI has some high probabilities, opportunities over the next couple months. Okay, so we've got the Laguerre triggered, we've got a green Hackenacci. You can put your stop right below here. You can keep it tight. At the end of the day, by the way, is what I do for stocks. End of day, not intraday. Just FYI. Okay, we do have neutral sediment though. Okay, when it's going back and forth, getting some consolidation. ADX is yellow, which is fine, but this is another opportunity on DR Horton to get in relatively low, and it has lots of room to the upside. Okay. Again, these are just all opportunities for you to look at. Cisco, again, this one isn't quite as bearish. Okay. It's now making the move back up. We got the Laguerre trigger. We got bullish sentiment. This could definitely come up and make you some money over the next couple of weeks. BMC starting this move now. Look at that 10-year seasonal pattern. Okay, Vulcan, unbelievable move. This is a good trigger. Again, your stop is right there, right? Stop is right there. Where's your reward? You can go all the way up to the highs. Okay, so if you got in here, this is your risk. Let me change it to red. And this is your reward opportunity. Okay, again, we'll take that every time, right? And let me just find something here real quick for you. Bear with me. Just grabbing something to give you some quick data here. I didn't do that before the meeting. So let's see, VMC. Yeah, so this has gone higher 80% of the time between now and the end of the year. Okay. So 80% of the time. Again, pretty good numbers and pretty low stop loss. Okay. So as you start to realize risk versus reward, look at that. Okay, good opportunity. All right, LEN, same thing, right? You have these down moves now, right? So you have places you can put your stop losses, okay? Again, these aren't perfect opportunities because we're in a downtrend now based on the cloud here. But we know we have some high probability moves coming right now, okay? And let's see, let me give you the data for LEN here. So the end of October until February has gone higher, folks, 29 out of 33 years. So we're talking 33 years of data, okay? So to me, this is a no-brainer. If you're buying the stock, you might as well buy it, okay? Because you don't have time decay, you don't have anything you have to worry about. You know, between end of October and through February, it almost always goes higher, okay? Option plays, you know, you could wait for that second trigger if you wanted because you have time decay and it costs more the further you go out, right? So you can wait for it to come back up to make sure it does, have a retracement, and then get back in, okay, get in the near future. Those are ways you can play some of these when they're in a defined downtrend now, okay? PNC. Now, I consider PNC sideways, okay? So I really like this one. Again, I don't know if I put my stop this far down. I'd probably put it at the close of maybe right here. Because again, if you're wrong, you're wrong. But if you're right, you know, take it up here. So let's say you got in right here. Again, this is your opportunity to lose this amount to make this amount, okay? And again, I'm not just looking at anything. I'm looking at things that typically move now and I'm waiting for triggers, right? Green Hakanachi, I want that Laguerre coming back out. Okay, I'm not just getting in. Everything I'm showing you is the assumption that's already high probability. So I guess I probably should have said that right from the beginning, right? These are high probability moves coming. That's why I have this watch list here. HRB, H&R block, same thing, right? You're basically getting triggers right now in HR block. Put your stop right here. You get in here. You know, you can decide for yourself up to new highs. It's almost a 50-50, you know, risk versus reward. Or you can say, well, you know what? If it goes against me and closes below yesterday's Hakanachi bar, I could get out here as well if you don't want quite as much risk, okay? Obviously, the tighter the stop, the more times you're going to get stopped out, though, okay? But when we look at H&R block here in 2 to 4 weeks, we're probably going to be up here, folks. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So AutoZone. AutoZone hit a new high today. You know, you can see back here, it's been pointing up all the time, right? So remember, when you wait for these opportunities, you got a trigger right here on September 8th. That was your trigger point. The cloud was narrowing. Your stop would have been right here, okay? Your stop would have been right here, okay? And so if you entered right here, let's see, the Laguerre, you had a green Hakanachi. So let's say you entered right here. Let me just color that for you. I'm very colorful today. Okay. This would have been your target right here, right about at the top of the band, at least part of your trade. Okay, so good risk reward. Yeah, it worked out, but good risk reward. Okay, you do that every time. Okay, and again, knowing that everything on my list here are high probability moves when we get triggers. Okay, I'm not just picking anything to pick the stop. Okay. All right, TGNA. Again, same thing, same exact thing. DHR. So here's one, you got a nice move coming, you know, it's a little bit more expensive stock. Okay, but I would wait for that Laguerre to trigger at this point, especially with a massive trend like this. You know, it'd be great to get a little bit bigger of a pullback. And we talked about H&R Block. All right, so some cloud changes here. So we go into the green, it's hard to see, but it just turned to green here on American Airlines. American Airlines has a seasonal move coming, okay? I'd like to see it kind of break through here, but again, you can play the breakout if you like. American Air just changed to a green. The other green we have right now, as of today, is Advanced Auto Parts. Nice seasonal move. Okay, looks like it wants to break out and probably hit new highs here in the very near opportunity. So these are some cloud changes from the data mining selections here. And I just keep an eye on those, look for trend directions, look for Laguerres. That way I don't miss anything, right? Because there's nothing worse than having that perfect opportunity that you didn't get to see it, okay? All right, well, let's see, pool. So pool is one of my favorites to get ready to trade, okay? And again, it looks just like the spiders, really, right? You see how it's kind of stopped right here? So again, keep an eye on pool for a long play here, very, very soon. So you can see we have a lot of opportunities, right? And it's just a matter of having patience, not getting in just to get in, only looking at stocks that have historical high opportunities of going up right now, okay? That data is definitely something that everybody should be looking at, in my opinion, because if something works over and over again, right, we need to use that in order to be successful, okay? All right, what would you like me to look at? So we spent 27 minutes, kind of my overview. Give me the symbols in the Q&A or the chat, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. Okay, so let's see here. So Chris, data mining, here, let me bring it over. Chris asked a good question. So every year I update a sheet here, okay? And it's for every month. And what I do, okay, I can go, it goes from January to December, okay? I only have November and September, October right now, okay? But I give an entry date and I give an exit date. And I give the probability of how many times it's made money for that season, okay? So as an example, look at BlackRock, BLK, and we'll show the chart in a minute. If you enter on October 25th, Chris, and you exit on 12/29, it's got an average profit of 9%, but it's made money every year, 21 out of 21 years, okay? Trades are years, 21 out of 21, 100% win rate, okay? Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, but knowing that Emerson Electric, okay, if you entered on 10/16 and exited on January 6th, has made money 37 out of 38 years, 97% chance, okay? You're giving yourself a huge advantage, right? So when you look at something like BlackRock, I don't just go in off the days, at least rarely do I. Okay, what I do is I look for triggers during that window period with my trading system, right? So what'll happen is when we get into October, at some point, we'll probably get a Laguerre trigger here and a Hackenacci green. That's going to be my entry point, knowing the thing has made money every year it's been around during this window coming up, okay? That's data mining, okay? That's data mining that I do. I update it every year. If I could only have one tool, that would be it, okay? That would be it, because it gives you everything you need with high probabilities right at your fingertips, okay? So yeah, so here, I'll put the link in if you're interested, absolutely. Let me put that in the chat, okay? All right, yeah. So Key, I got your text too. Sorry I didn't get back with you on that. I actually forgot until now. Look at that, I type in your name. All right, so Pal, Palladium, right? Look at this. So typically Palladium, is one of my favorites as a longer term investment, okay? It had its down move, significant down move, right? We had divergence, okay? And now it looks like this potentially could be the bottom at 173.12, okay? Potentially. So if you're looking for a trade on Palladium, now's the time as an aggressive move, right? You can get in here, put your stop at the low, okay? If it continues its downtrend, right? If it continues its downtrend, this is your loss opportunity. This is your win and more opportunity, okay? You probably know if I already got into this or not, don't you? I'm not doing anything publicly with PIL again, not yet, because the other thing you can do is wait for it to continue up, pull back. If you get a higher low and you get a new green Hakanachi here in the near future, that is a more conservative entry, okay? Remember, you're fighting this massive downtrend. This could turn right back down and get you out, okay? So if you have a small account, you don't want to, lose this opportunity, this money. Yeah, you may decide not to, okay? But if this is the bottom, you just got yourself a phenomenal trade, okay? Phenomenal trade. All right, George, let me take a look at some of these. AKAM. So seasonally, I like it to the upside. So what I'm looking for, George, the way I trade, let me fix this real quick. Again, we're following the trend, which is good. The overall trend, when I say that, if you back it up, right, it was in a monster uptrend. Now the cloud is defined as a downtrend. So because of that, I'm not going to just go long here. Okay, what I need is Laguerre to trigger, a green Hakanachi. I want to see this start to narrow. Okay, if I don't want to wait for a green cloud, I'm going to wait for it to narrow. See how it narrowed up here? Narrow. And if everything else is good to go, then I can put my stop below this wick. Okay. If not, if it continues down or if you're short, I would definitely stay short at this point. BSX, so seasonally it kind of goes down until December, Boston Scientific. Okay, but it's ranging. So you can do these. I don't love it right now because look at the band back and forth. It's kind of tough to make money on this right now. There's better ones out there. Okay, but once you get into December, I would keep an eye on this. Late November, December. Blackstone, BX, definitely like it. Right around mid-November, end November to the long side. It's in a nice trend up. You could even take it early with a green Hakanachi if the Laguerre starts curving back up, okay? You've got strong bullish sentiment. You've got an incredible trending ADX. I definitely like this to the long side. BBWI, it's kind of sideways. I wouldn't trade it right now. Your Bath and Body, you got better opportunities. See how you can see that right away. City, again, I'd be waiting for that breakout to the upside. Definitely have a seasonal influence coming to the long. Ford, again, I worked there for 12 years before I decided to trade for a living. Not the most exciting stock for me to trade, okay? Doesn't do a whole lot. Not for me anyway. So Intel, I like it. It's kind of consolidating right around here, and it typically takes off right about now. Okay, so I would wait for that Laguerre to continue up, right? And then again, your risk is here, the reward's all in through here. So it's a good risk reward opportunity, right? Yeah. Oh, so Chris, your question is that based on seasonals? Well, yeah. So the data mining is the probability of something that's gone up based on the past. So when I say that something's gone higher during, let me just make up dates, okay? If it goes higher between January 1st and January 30th, 20 out of 20 years, okay? That means literally that stock, if you bought it on January 1 and sold it on the end of January, it's gone higher 20 out of 20 years. If that's not a definition of seasonality, I don't know what is. Okay, so you're absolutely right. It's different than my seasonal indicator. You know, this seasonal indicator here to the right is, I have it defaulted to the green is 10 years, you know, using some moving parts. Okay, but it's basically showing you what it's been doing. And then the lag line, this line down here says if it's following what it normally does, because that's important. Okay. So this 10 years of seasonality is great. I like to look at anything I'm going to make sure it has some seasonality. But the data mining is unbelievable, because it tells you since the day the stock's been around, pockets throughout the year with these incredible odds. Okay. Sure, let's take a look at IBM. Let's see if there's any seasonality in IBM. So looking at this, let me expand this for a minute. Okay, this is the weekly chart, by the way, folks. I know I've got some, it looks like some new folks I don't recognize. So this is the weekly chart. That's why I look at my seasonality. The green line is the 10-year forecast. Okay, here's where we're at right now. So IBM typically goes down the week of 9/27 till 10/25. So the month of October is usually bearish. Okay, but look at that. Then it comes right back up. Okay, so if you're not looking to short anything on IBM, once you get into the end of October, you get a trigger long. There you go. You have a good opportunity to make money on IBM in October. Okay. I'm sorry, November, right? End of October, so November. Okay. And then most of the year it's sideways. Okay. But the end of the year rally on IBM, institutions are buying it up at the end, towards the end of the year. Okay. Yeah. So let's take a look at gold. Look at the metals. So as I mentioned, typically the metals go lower now, okay, until right around December. So again, if you're not looking to short anything, kind of hold off. But once we get to Thanksgiving time frame, it's one of my favorite trades of the year when I get triggers: gold, silver, long. Okay, absolutely. Okay, so let's look at last year. All right. So here's the beautiful thing about trading system. So we got a trigger December 1st. Okay. Those of you, many of you took this trade with me and we made good money on gold. Okay. Right there. Right there. Some years it continues to run. This past year it didn't. Okay. So you can turn very nice winner on some of those. But for whatever reason, gold is very bearish last month to 2 months, month and a half of the year, going into even through February. Okay, in many cases. Okay, so metals, look for bulls when we get to December. All right, IWM, yeah. So again, same thing here. We're getting triggers. We just want that Laguerre to confirm. Okay, you can put your stop below this wick. It's really been consolidating. I wouldn't get too greedy on something like this. I'd be taking profits right about here. You know, so if you entered here, take profits up to here. Mara, getting ready to go long again on Mara, right? Just wait on that Laguerre. And there, bam. Getting close, getting close. Yeah, semiconductor, again, you have your new entry today. Okay, the only thing you have to worry about, pretty close to highs. Eventually it'll probably break new highs, right? That's what happens. But there's always that risk of bigger pullback. So go in maybe a quarter of your normal position or a half of your normal position. If it keeps going, you're not going to be too upset. If it pulls back again to like 195, you can add in. Okay. I don't have seasonal data, it hasn't been around long enough on PLTR. Just by looking at the trend though, right? We got a green cloud. Okay, we did have some divergence here, so I'd be careful at this point. What I'd be looking for, if you're looking to go long on it, because we had this divergence, I would wait for the Laguerre to come back down like it did here, whenever that is in the near future. And then once it comes back out of the green in the near future here, that'll be your entry, okay? All right, folks. So again, I think big picture, it's a little confusing, right? If we get another update tomorrow on the S&P, we start getting some green Hackenacci, then I think we're off to the races, okay? But, you know, we got to get through the cloud. It's got to break through, okay? Think of this as a magnet. It may come up to, and then is it going to break through or not? Because we haven't had red cloud in a while. See that? Okay, since right here. And same thing happened here though. Came down, kissed the 2.5 standard deviation, then we got our re-entry right here. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting to happen, but I'm not going to jump the gun at this point. Okay. Let's see. ABNB, let me get that one. So no seasonal data, okay, but we're in an uptrend. So the next pullback, you can look to buy. Yep. You can always go to a 4-hour as well. You really aggressively want to go into it and wait. Like back here, we had a new trigger. Back here, we had a new trigger. So in that future 4-hour, you'll get another trigger. You could take it. Okay. Well, all right, folks. Good talking with you all. Hopefully this helps kind of give you overall rules to trading. If you have any suggestions, you can always email me as well. Let's see, it's Dr. Keith at seasonaltraderpro.com. I'll put that in the chat. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate that. Next week, probably saw an invite, or no, maybe not yet. You'll be seeing one. I'm going to be doing a webinar next week as well on more information on the cloud and the scans and so forth. So if you join up for that, if you can't make it, it's free. You can get the recording. Okay. Other than that, I'll see you all here in a couple weeks. Oh, good question. So the Fed, let me give you, if you do any day trading, I have no idea what they're going to do, but here's what you can do. Okay. This is my day trading screen. Okay. And you can go back and look at some of my YouTube videos on Fed trading. Okay. I'm going to be doing that at 2 o'clock myself. What I look for is this. Once the news hits at 2 o'clock, okay, this is a 5-minute chart. This is the 1-minute chart. Okay. Once the news hits at 2, you usually get some big candle, usually. Okay. Some big movement. I don't care which direction. Okay. So let's say the Fed talks and we get a move up. Okay. Well, eventually what happens is it goes up and then it starts heading down because people are taking profits, getting stopped out. Okay. And then I wait for that second entry going back up. Okay. And I like to do it either off the 5 or the 1 minute. Okay. So if it goes down off the news, you go back and watch some of my videos on this. But if it goes down, if it comes back up and then starts turning over again, there's your entry short. Okay. It's one of the easiest trades. Yeah, exactly, Chris. It's one of the easiest trades that I do. I do it for non-farm payroll and for the Fed, okay? And you just got to know, again, don't worry about which direction it initially goes. Then look for it to head in the other direction. Then when it goes back in the direction of the initial move, okay, that is your entry, okay? Yep, so yeah, I don't know what they're going to decide today or just keep things the same. We'll just see how the market reacts to it. That's all I care about. And then we'll go in the initial direction as time permits that to happen. Okay. All right, folks. Well, have a great one. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great week. Bye now.